Please, let's take our seat. Thank you. We're going to have our invocation by Dr. LaWanda Falami of Greater Bethlehem Church out of Atlanta, and it will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to ask our Veteran of the Month, retired Lieutenant Colonel Ravina Y. Robinson, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would, please stand with me.
Good evening, Chair, Madam Chair, Commissioner, in your perfected place, my colleagues to my left and right. Good evening. Let us pray. Our Father, Father, we come today with thanksgiving in our heart, realizing that this is the day that you have made, realizing that all knee must bow, but we stand before you because you are so merciful and grateful unto us. Now, Father, we invite your presence in this room. We ask that you walk with each and every one of these commissioners, lead them, guide them, protect them, give those who traveling grace. And when it's all said and done, there's always more room for praying. We ask you for traveling grace from here, but never far from you. We cry out, spare none, in your Son's Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please remove your caps or hats.
Thank you, ma'am.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our September 5th regular business meeting. The first order of business is the adoption of the agenda. Do any board members have any amendments at this time?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Franklin.
I'd like to take item number 4, recommendation for 23-75 separately. Item 5 for recommendation of 23-78 separately, along with 23-110 separately. 23.
Hold on, it's like 23-110, which?
Number 6.
Number 6. 23-17, I have a question on that.
You want all this going independently on the regular agenda?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Recommendation for 23-192, consulting services for planning and zoning. I have a question on that just to clarify, separate.
Item 9.
Along with, now, there are some items that I did print the entire packet, but there are some items for approval dealing with like $14 million and so forth. And I know that our CFO, we spoke earlier, and she said she would provide me that information. So as opposed to pulling it separately, because it's so many, Mr. Chair, I'd like to just ask the question, if I may, during the adoption of the consent agenda. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And additionally, no, that one's good. 2023-193, I'd like to make a recommendation for Mr. Chair to put before a proposal to hold that item. This item would be best served if it comes to us in a work session so that we have an opportunity to clearly understand our role as a board, especially considering that we are looking at one particular company to provide services, and the attached information just have some questions on billing, how it would be billed, and to ensure that our citizens would know if they're incurring any costs for said services. So I'd like to make that one as a motion to actually hold that item, sir.
All right, it's been a motion to hold resolution 2023-193, authorizing Clayton County through Clayton County Fire and Emergency Services to enter into a business associate agreement with Right Side Health Physicians. Is there a second to the motion? Is there a second to the motion? All right, hearing none, it fails to back to a second.
And on record, I want to say thank you to Chief for bringing this before us, but the items that are missing that I'd like to state on record is our board would be signing an agreement, and we have no way of knowing whether or not citizens would be aware of what they would be charged, how would they be charged, as well as any type of information that needs to be provided for waivers. So, and then on top of that, Mr. Reed, if you can add a note, or our clerk can add a note as well. I do have questions to ensure that we follow the correct process so we don't run into the area of gratuity by choosing one particular provider. I don't see where we did a request for service or RFP. So if we can add that on record, please.
Any others?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I have
1 second.
one,
I'm not. So for that, since it died, I would like to take that separate so that I could take my separate vote, please. That needs to be on the regular agenda, 2023-193.
Clear on those items, Madam Clerk? Will you finish, Commissioner Franklin?
Oh, one more. The last one is the agreement for $1 million in stimulus funds to be awarded by the county to a organization I've not heard of, Project Real Life Youth Occupational Training Corps. I would like for that to be taken separate as well.
What number is that?
That's 2023-199, and that's item 32 on the agenda.
Madam Clerk, read back to us her request to place on the regular agenda, so we'll make sure that we covered everything she requested.
I'm clear. The items I have listed are item number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 9, number 26, and number 32.
Did you request number 11? No, never
I'm
mind.
looking back.
No,
No, I
that was
didn't.
my notation.
No, that was just.
All right, but you want to take the budget amendment number 12 prior to the adoption. Okay, are there any others?
Yes, I'd like to pull for the regular agenda item number 3. And just I just had some questions about that one. That's 22-204.
Any others?
That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Number 11, 2-35.
That was number 11, budget amendment 2-35, Madam Clerk, regular agenda.
I'm clear.
Any others? All right, hearing none, I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Franklin. Are there any questions in reference to your item number 12, Ms. Franklin? Commissioner Franklin.
Yes. The question in reference to those, when we get ready to vote, the information is provided for us to vote on the cleanup, but we don't have any attached addendum info to know. We just have total amounts here. So I guess it can go along with Commissioner Davis's recommendation, because he's going to have it separate anyway. And that would be, really, it's quite a few. It's 11 through 22 that we're missing additional information. And that's,
Any other? I'm sorry, we finished.
no, I'm sorry, sir. Because that's totaling actually, I think, a little over $30 million in adjustments. And I just think we should have that info so we know what we're voting on.
Any other questions, comments, statements? All right, those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Madam Clerk.
Our next item is our presentation for the Veteran of the Month.
All right, our Veteran of the Month, who's here in her spiffy uniform, looking all good. Yes, ma'am. Our Veteran of the Month is Lieutenant Colonel Reva Y. Robinson, United States Air Reserve. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Reva Robinson was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Lieutenant Colonel Robinson commissioned as second lieutenant through the ROTC program, and upon graduating from Georgia Southwestern University in Americus, Georgia, where she received a bachelor's degree in human resource management. She later graduated from Quartermaster Officer Basic Course at Fort Lee, Virginia in 1991, and her first U.S. Army Reserve assignment was a platoon leader with the 1015th Maintenance Company in 1992 in Fort Gillem, Georgia. Her follow-on assignments include the following: 3rd Battalion, 345th Training Support Battalion, also at Fort Gillem; Army Reserve Element Disposition in Anniston, Alabama, where she served until she retired in July of 2018. Some of her awards and decorations include the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, Meritorious Service Medal 3, Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal, Army Reserve Component Achievement Medals, and National Defense Service Medal, and that's just to name a few. She is a member of Veterans Helping Veterans, Inc., Wounded Warrior Project, and member of the Atlanta Airport Area Church of Christ. Help me recognize and honor Lieutenant Colonel Retired Reva Y. Robinson.
And it is Army, not Air Force. Because I'm an Army baby.
It's Army, not Air Force.
Oh, I'm an Army baby. Born in Fort Smith. Awesome, awesome. Thank you.
All right, group on the count of three. 1, 2. Again. 1, 2, 3. Last time. 1.
That's my husband.
Come on in here.
Thank you for your service as well. Thank you.
Can we take a picture with your phone? Just do it. All right, on 3. 1, 2. On 3. 1, 2.
Next, we have a proclamation. Clayton County recognizes Judge Aaron B. Mason and Drug Court's 43rd graduation. This is presented by Vice Chair Franklin.
Judge and his staff, if you all could please come down. Stand. And I have a copy for everyone.
That's what I said. That's what I said. That's what I said.
All right, on 3. 1, 2.
So, Clayton County honors the Honorable Judge Aaron B. Mason and the Clayton County Drug Court. The Clayton County Drug Court is also composed of the following team members: Honorable Judge Aaron B. Mason, presiding judge; Miss Deborah A. Bodie, coordinator; Miss Valencia Caroline Thurman, Public Defender, Mr. Travis McDowell, Assistant District Attorney, Ms. Bria Banks, and our probation officer, Ms. Cynthia Johnson, the Comprehensive Case Manager, Captain Callie Hewitt, Law Enforcement with our Sheriff's Office, Investigator Brian Ho, who works with our DA's office, and surveillance, and Dr. Beverly Vet Dorsey, lead counselor. And whereas the Clayton County Drug Court successfully graduated more than two, but this time, 2 participants on July 13th, 2023, and it's 43rd, did y'all hear me? 43rd graduation since the court's formation in 2009. The graduation took place at the Clayton County Courthouse with family members of the community and the drug court team in attendance. And whereas the graduates addressed those attending by thanking their support system and expressing gratitude to the Honorable Judge Mason and the Clayton County Drug Court team for giving them an opportunity to participate in the program, which guided them in their journey toward recovery. Now, the rest of it, I'm going to read the final portion of it, but I do want to take a couple minutes to say something special about this team. So, therefore, I, Felicia Franklin, Vice Chair on behalf of the Clayton County Board of Commissioners, do hereby honor the Honorable Judge Aaron B. Mason and the entire Clayton County Drug Court for all that they do on behalf of Clayton County citizens. And I would be remiss if I didn't state that Judge Aaron B. Mason also served as the mentor of the court, and he received an award 2023 to 2026 where he served for best practices for his work in Clayton County. Can we give Judge Mason and the entire team? I think you all can do better than that. And I'm not going to tear up. I participated in that program. And what I loved about it is how Judge Mason took time with each one of the participants to make sure that they knew that they counted, that their journey really meant something to our community. But you know why you did that? Because you're a great man. Your wife, your children. Why do I take time to share that? You're here in our community. We raised our children together. And people need to know when folks are in our community working and giving back, it takes a lot of work to do what they do. And he always makes sure that he puts the light on his staff. So thank you so very much. And tell your wife and the kids, we love them.
Our next proclamation is September is National Senior Center Month. This is presented by Chairman Jeffrey E. Turner.
Clayton County Board of Commissioners recognized September 2023 as National Senior Center Month. Whereas National Senior Month originated as National Senior Center Week in May 1979, the concept gained the support of other aging organizations such as the National Council on Aging, the full Senate, the House Select Committee on Aging. And whereas in 1985, the National Institute of Senior Centers was instrumental in achieving the first Senior Center Week presidential proclamation, signed by President Ronald Reagan. In 2000, Clayton County Board of Commissioners recognized September 2023 as National Senior Center Month. Whereas National Senior Month originated as National Senior Center Week in May 1979, the concept gained the support of other aging organizations, such as the National Council on Aging, the full Senate, the House Select Committee on Aging. And whereas in 1985, the National Institute of Senior Centers was instrumental in achieving the first Senior Center Week presidential proclamation, signed by President Ronald Reagan. In 2007, NISC designated the entire month of September as Senior Center Month to give senior centers greater flexibility in scheduling. And whereas the theme for 2023 is Discover Yours, which encourages people to come to their senior center, whether they are regulars or have never visited. It conveys a sense of exploration, self-discovery, and individuality. And whereas Frank Bailey Senior Center, J. Charlie Griswold Senior Center, Sana Singleton Gregory Senior Center, Kinship Care Resource Center, and Flint River Community Center continue to provide countless hours of support and encouragement to older adults. They also offer a place for older adults to discover their unique interests, talents, and aspirations. And whereas through various services, programs, and activities, the senior and intergenerational centers work with community partners to provide access to health, economic security, social engagement, purpose, creativity, mobility, and nutrition, all in a social and fun environment. And whereas Frank Bailey Senior Center, J. Charlie Griswold Senior Center, Sana Singleton Gregory Senior Center, Kinship Care Resource Center, and Flint River Community Center affirms the dignity, self-worth, and independence of our older adults by aiding in their decisions and actions, recognizing their skills and knowledge, and enabling their continued contributions to the community. Now, therefore, I, Jeffrey E. Turner, Chairman on behalf of the Clayton County Board of Commissioners, do hereby honor and encourage all citizens to join and celebrate National Senior Center Month. We encourage every resident to recognize our older adults' contributions, help create an inclusive society, and join efforts to support older Americans' choices about how they age in their communities. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Clayton County, Georgia, to be affixed this 5th day of September, 2023.
Y'all know we have the best senior facilities as well as the best staff in the state. Let's get
Our next proclamation is September is National Kinship Care Month. They haven't. That was the senior center. That was the senior center. That was the senior center one that I announced. I just did National Senior Center. The next one is this that we have now. We didn't read the proclamation. Y'all got the picture back? It's two from senior services. All right. Our last proclamation of the night is National Preparedness Month. This is presented by Commissioner Hambrick.
Clayton County recognizes September as National Preparedness Month, preparing older adults. Whereas each year, Clayton County citizens face the threat of severe weather events, such as lightning, thunderstorms, floods, flash floods, and tornadoes, all potentially dangerous to life, health, and property. These events remind us that emergencies can strike anywhere, at any time, and being prepared before disaster strikes can be a life or death matter. And whereas the Ready Campaign's 2023 National Preparedness Month campaign focuses on preparing older adults for disasters, specifically older adults from communities that are disproportionately impacted by all hazard events, which continue to threaten the nation. Older adults can face greater risk when it comes to multitude of extreme weather events and emergencies we now face, especially if they are living alone, are low income, have a disability, or live in rural areas. And whereas National Preparedness Month creates an opportunity for every Clayton County citizen to learn more about ways to prepare for all types of emergencies, from natural disasters to potential terrorist attacks. Emergency preparedness is the responsibility of every Clayton County citizen. All individuals, families, schools, churches, and businesses should focus on important steps to prepare for an emergency, including getting a kit, planning, being informed, and getting involved to help make preparedness a priority throughout the county. And whereas Clayton County Office of Resilience and Sustainability, local, state, and federal governments, volunteers, professional associations, and private businesses are working to prepare for, respond to, and recover from all types of emergencies. These activities, along with a vigilant public, contribute to a level of local, state, and national preparedness that is critical to securing our county, state, and homeland. As we observe National Preparedness Month, we urge adults and children to participate in citizen preparedness activities and to look for additional preparedness information at our preparedness website, ReadyClayton.com, and Georgia Emergency Management Agency, Ready website at ready.ga.gov. Now, therefore, I, Gail B. Hambrick, Commissioner, on behalf of the Clayton County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2023 as National Preparedness Month in Clayton County and recognize the importance of preparing for all potential emergencies and encourage citizens to participate in weekly activities to test overall preparedness. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Clayton County, Georgia, to be affixed this 5th day of September in the year 2023.
The board will now consider the consent agenda.
And before I ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda, we need to just notify or make you aware of a correction on item number 31, resolution 2023-198. Mr. Reed.
Yes, the synopsis. Good evening, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and Board. First, the synopsis of item 31 indicates that the distribution is of an additional $1 million. Actually, it's a little bit more than that. The total amount for M&A is $2,921,981.28 that they're overseeing distributing. So I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that that number was not the correct number.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Are there any questions on any of the items?
Has it been, I know that he stated on record that the amount, but particularly on this item, did we use them before in conjunction with Africa Children's Fund? I thought we did, or did we not? And
Chief
can we
Ferguson.
get some performance measures feedback on that?
No, ma'am. M&A was brought in. They were not involved in the section of money that involved Africa Children's Fund. M&A was brought in during what we deemed ERA Fest, which was CCCSB, the Clayton County Community Services Board, or Community Services Authority, as well as Melanated Pearl and Project Real Life. So they oversaw the disbursement of about $6.2 million in ERA funds. That was ERA 1 money.
Okay.
So when the county got the ERA 2 funds, which is what we're discussing tonight, because they were successful in getting the first 6.2 out, we renewed their agreement to get the new 3.167, I believe, in ERA 2 funding out. So no, they were not involved in that previous amount. So what this does, and the other one that you had a question on, clarifies originally there were 3 vendors that were going to be involved in ERA 2. That quickly went down to 2, and then quickly went down to 1. So what this does is go back and cleans up all the money that was initially divvied out to 3 organizations and gets it into the hands of 1 organization so we can get it to the community.
What's our time frame to get this money out? Because we don't want to have to send it back again.
December 2024.
Okay, so I got a little bit of time.
Yes, ma'am.
All
Let
right,
me
thank
say
you
this
so
too.
very.
Hold on a second. Were you finished, Commissioner Frank?
Really, that was all that well, one last question. What was their performance evaluation in terms of them being able to provide the other funds to the public? Do you all have a performance mechanism that you evaluate?
Yes, ma'am. So they were evaluated through the central services process, and they dispersed $6.2 million in I think a little under 2, maybe 3 months.
Okay.
So
And not a lot of complaints is what I'm asking. Okay, good deal. Thank you.
considering the amount of money we put out in a very short period of time.
Good. Thank you so very
Yes,
much.
ma'am.
Commissioner Hamburg.
Well, and I wanted to say, just giving an evaluation from Tina and myself, they were very good in helping the citizens and all. We had no problem at all, and I'm glad that we are doing this with them. Very professional.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And no phone calls. We did good.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
One other question, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Frank.
So what would be the pathway moving forward? And we could just combine, in terms of my questions, Mr. Chair, for this one, in 2023-199. Do we have a solid plan to get this money out? And how are we going to get the notice to the public?
So the process has already been going. Project Real Life has already dispensed about $1.6 million.
Okay.
What we're doing is there was initially, as I stated, 3 vendors in space. 2 of them got 1.067 or 1.027, and then the third got 1 million. That's since now all been consolidated. The other 2 vendors chose not to participate in this particular program. So Project Real Life through Magistrate Court, they're working solely with evictions right now. So they've already, like I said, dispersed 1.6 of the money. So we do not anticipate the remainder of these funds lasting much longer.
That's what I needed to know. That's
Yes,
through
ma'am.
Magistrate
This is all
Court.
going through Magistrate Court and eviction diversion.
Is that same for Project Real Life?
Yes, ma'am. Project Real Life is the only vendor that's working with Magistrate Court right now. So they will take possession of the funds that were left remaining from Melanated Pearl when they withdrew from the program, and then the other funds that were allocated within the program. So now they will disperse the remaining, I think, amount not to exceed, what is it, Chuck, 2.9 something million, because the remaining of the funds is going to clean up ERA 2A. And some overages that occurred there, so we'll clean that up and then to finish paying out the call center staff through December.
Okay.
So that will wind up ERA 2B. And then
Got
I
it.
think we will be out of the ERA business.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
And Madam Vice Chair, just to be clear, do you still want to take Resolution 2023-199 separately, or did your questions were answered?
My questions were answered. Thank you.
Right, our next item is item number 3, recommendation for termination of contract, PSA 22-204, full-time associate judge for the juvenile court. This is presented by Central Services Director Carol Rogers.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners. The request is for PSA, Professional Service Agreement 22-204, which is a full-time associate judge for the juvenile court. The request is to terminate the contract for convenience with Rosalind Eisman, located in Fayetteville, Georgia. Due to the American Rescue Plan Act, the ARPA grant funds are no longer available for this position as a result of not having a backlog of cases in juvenile court. The Board of Commissioners approved this award on August the 16th, 2022. The department recommendation memo is attached for your review and information.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Anderson. All
Yes.
right, any questions?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I have a question. So I just want to find out, so the backlog, we see that the backlog of the cases are complete, and I just want to know, is there any money left over from this that we may have to send back for ARPA?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm not sure. Do you have something, Chief?
Yes, ma'am. So I spoke with finance. We do not believe that they spent all of the funds. However, finance is going to go back, look and see exactly what was spent, what was allocated, and then
Okay.
we'll get that answer to you as far as what may be remaining, if any.
Okay.
I was about to ask.
That's what I was going to ask. Can
Those
we
funds can be
reallocate it?
recaptured and reallocated. So
Okay.
if there is an allotment left, then we can bring that request back before the board to reallocate those funds.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
I
those in
just wanted
favor,
to know
aye.
where the money was and
Aye.
how we can reallocate.
Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Our next item is item number 4.
Okay, this is a recommendation for award of RFP 23-75 is for data and internet services for Clayton County. The recommendation is to do a multi-award to 2 vendors that meet our requirements. The first one is Comcast Cable Communications Management LLC. They're located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The next vendor is AT&T Corporation, located in Alpharetta. Funding is available through the Department of Information Technology's General Fund. The evaluation tabulation summary, department's recommendation memo, and agreement are attached for your review and information. The request is for you to approve the recommendation, authorize the chairman, his designee, to execute all necessary documents to accomplish the intent of the contract, and authorize the interim chief financial officer to amend the budget accordingly.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any questions? Hearing none, those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous.
Our next item is item number 5.
This is a recommendation for award of RFP 23-78. This is for deferred prosecution program for gun safety course for Clayton County. The recommendation is to award to the proponent whose proposal meets our requirements. That is going to be Operations 21 LLC, located in Cumming, Georgia, in the amount of $200 per individual session and $195 per group session. Funding is available through the pretrial intervention program. The evaluation tabulation summary, department recommendation memo, and agreement are attached for your review and information. The request is for you to approve the recommendation, authorize the chairman, his designee, to execute all necessary documents to accomplish the intent of the contract, and authorize the interim chief financial officer to amend the budget accordingly.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Franklin.
What division did this come through?
This is going to be for the solicitor's office, Solicitor General, but it is a contract that that can be used by other departments in the courts.
That was just missing. Thank you.
Any other questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Our next item is item number 6.
This is a recommendation of award for ITB 23-110. It is for shingle roof work. It is an annual contract for Clayton County. The recommendation is for award to the lowest responsive and responsible bidders. We are requesting a multiple award contract. The first one is for the M. Mitchell Group LLC of Carrollton, Georgia. The next one is Levon Industries LLC of Atlanta, Georgia, and CGS Waterproofing LLC of Norcross, Georgia. Funding is available through the Building Maintenance Department's General Fund. The bid tabulation summary, department's recommendation, and agreement are attached for your review and information. The request is for you to approve the recommendations, authorize the chairman, his designee, to execute all necessary documents to accomplish the intent of the contract, and authorize the interim chief financial officer to amend the budget accordingly.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Franklin.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And have we used this company before?
We've used the M. Mitchell Group for painting on the interior of the public defender building.
But they've not done roofing for us before?
No, ma'am. Garland is the company we typically use. They are specialties in commercial roofing, so your flat roof, flood and gravel, TPO, modified. They don't have a shingle line, so they have to outsource it. And we found through the pandemic that their prices continue to go up. We figured we'd get some other vendors that may be able to do that more appropriately for us.
Okay. The reason I'm asking, and it kind of was going to tie into the next one, I know that in government we tend to go with the lowest responsive bidder, except when we're doing a bid for professional services, it seems. But we can have quite a few of our buildings that really need some work, and we hire folks, brand new buildings. So that's why I wanted to know, have they worked with us before? Have they worked in this line of business prior to coming before our board? Because I know previously we used a company that did not have experience, and we have a lot of issues.
Levon Industries has some other contracts with us, and M. Mitchell Group also just received some other rough carpentry contracts with us. So we have used them in other areas, but not specifically on roofing. That's part of why we went with 3 different vendors, so that we could evaluate as they came in, as opposed to just selecting one and then it maybe not be the one we need to go with.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Was that just 4-1?
Yes.
Yes. Next.
Okay. Next item is recommendation for contract amendment. Hold it. I think we're on number
Next item is item number 7.
Number 7, thank you. This is ITB recommendation for award of ITB 23-117, which is drainage and site renovations for Flint River Community Center. The recommendation is to award to International Waste Services located in Atlanta, Georgia, in the amount of $453,000. Funding is available through the Capital Project Funds 2004 and 2009 SPLOST funds. The bid tabulation summary, department's recommendation memo, and agreement are attached for your review and information. The request is for you to approve the recommendation, authorize the chairman and his designee to execute all necessary documents to accomplish the intent of the contract, and authorize the interim chief financial officer to amend the budget accordingly.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Franklin?
Same questions as before.
And can I speak
Yes,
on that
go
one?
ahead.
In our bids, we do have minimum requirements, so that vendor has to perform a certain level of work as it pertains to that particular scope of work. We also have the reference checks in there also.
I'm glad you brought that up because we're going to talk about Flint River. Come on up, sir. When was Flint River built?
Flint River Community Center got completed in 2020.
And we're spending $500,000 for the waste services, International Waste
The
Services.
company's name is International Waste Services. The issue that we're dealing with specifically here is the stormwater runoff that comes from the neighborhood to the north of the site comes through, and we saw originally that field in the back when all the sod got ripped up. They didn't properly accommodate to take all of that water that was coming off of site and get it to the stormwater pond in front of the building. So this takes into account those issues. It takes into account other surface drainage that comes off of the building and other drainage that comes off to the future phase 2 that we have north of the parking lots.
Can you define who they is for me, please? You said they didn't. Who was they?
The former project management firm that we had, whenever Atlas went through, I'll be more specific, thank you. Whenever Atlas went through and managed the program for us, one of the issues that was identified by Mr. Fox and his team is the stormwater runoff through the water authority didn't go back to verify whenever they changed the original plan. Clayton County Water Authority authorized the first plan, and then they did some adjustments. They didn't send it back to them to verify what was going on.
And, okay. So, did we pay Atlas? Because usually you pay an architect and an engineer so that these things are taken care of in the build process, because it's almost like saying, I build my house, but I'm going to buy my home, but now I need to go spend additional money because what I thought was done during the build was not done. So did we pay them for the services? And now we're having to pay an additional $500,000?
I would have to defer to someone else that was prior to my taking over from planning, design, and construction.
It's okay.
Any other questions?
Yes, Chair.
Where you finish?
I got one more, I'm sorry. Let me tell you, and I don't say sorry, I apologize. The reason I do have one more question. From the beginning, this building has been leaking. From the beginning, I walked into the manager's office and there was over 1.5 inches of water on the floor. From the beginning, as I walk in the building, I found water damage. So what we have to do as a government is make sure that when we're spending money with a company, no matter whether it's Atlas or any other company, that we do our job and that we're not having to come back and spend $500,000 to fix the construction. I want it fixed. It needs to be fixed. But my biggest concern is, why should we foot the bill when we paid somebody to make sure this was done right? That's it.
Commissioner Davis.
Are there any warranties that are still outstanding on this property?
There are warranties and there are other mechanisms that we're going through in order to take care of financial obligations that we're putting forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the warranties haven't expired?
No, sir. My understanding from another project that we have going is there is 5 to 8 years depending on a warranty claim if there are these types of issues and issues with some of the other buildings.
Right, and I know they vary by work that's being done.
Correct.
For this particular instance, being an engineering issue, is there a way to go back after the contractor who originally put it in?
There are performance bonds and there are other
yes, that's
mechanisms.
the performance
correct.
bond and warranties that are out there.
Correct. Those are there. What we don't want to do is continue to wait.
Correct.
Got it.
And cause
We've
more
got
money.
to address the issues at hand so we don't cause additional issues
And
with
have
the
bill
signs.
go up.
Correct.
Yes, I understand.
How many buildings were they over before with this building? How many other buildings was this company over, responsible for?
I think it was only one commission.
The Morgan Construction was only doing this building. They're the general contractor who did this building.
Atlas was overseeing it.
Aliso was the program management firm for the county that oversaw the SPOST program.
And
holistically.
Nova, who I voted against, did the testing, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Reed, can you ensure we get our money back? Do the best you can.
Yeah, Insure is pretty strong, but we
Yes.
definitely have people looking into potential claims.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank y'all for the work that you're doing to get it fixed.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous.
Next item is item number 9.
Recommendation for contract amendment to Special Purchase 23-192, which is consultant services for planning and zoning for Clayton County. The recommendation is to amend the current contract with the Collaborative Firm LLC located in East Point, Georgia. We need to extend the contract term from September the 16th, 2023 to January the 16th, 2024. While we reprocure the services, the total amount is $33,000 per month. The monthly amount is $33,000, and the total would be $132,000. Funding is available through the Community Development Department's General Fund. The amendment is attached for your review and information. The request is for you to approve the recommendation, authorize the chairman and his designee to execute all necessary documents to accomplish the intent of the contract, and authorize the interim chief financial officer to amend the budget accordingly.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Are there any questions?
Just one quick question.
Commissioner Franklin.
Yes, sir. I want to clarify because I get calls, and it's not really pertaining to this company per se, but I want to get it on record because I get calls from developers, which, as we know, community development, which is where these services will be provided, is our arm to bring quality businesses into the county. And what I get is they're not getting a return phone call. So I want to ensure on record who's responsible for that. Is it the company? Is it the collaborative firm that's responsible for returning calls? Or is it the Department of Community Services?
And I would defer to community development as far as the day-to-day, is there someone here? Yes, Director Jiki, as far as the day-to-day part of the contract.
Because I hear this all over and over again. I even spoke to Mr. Reed about it and had him speak to one company that said they weren't coming back to Clayton. So I want to make sure we clarify who's responsible.
Yes, Commissioner. Good evening. Yes, the return phone calls, the work, the analysis, the reviews, and the work product are all under the contract for the collaborative firm.
So the collaborative firm is actually in our offices receiving phone calls and returning calls?
Yes, because they are doing the reviews, and they are the ones sending to the applicants the red lines of the reviews. So the applicants will respond to them in terms of what they are reviewing.
Okay.
Any other questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, for the record, did we have a unanimous vote on item number 7?
No, I vote.
That was
unanimous, sir.
That was the one we just did.
Yes. Mr. Chair, yes, I voted yes.
You clear, Madam Clerk?
I'm clear.
Okay.
Our next item is item number 11, Budget Amendment 2-35, presented by our interim CFO, Stacy Merritt.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chair, Commissioners.
Just give them all to me. Give them all to me.
What he's bringing over to you, since I had several questions about this come up earlier today. Historically, we have not budgeted for litigation and settlement expenses. So at the end of the year, as we're doing right now, we're doing cleanup with the budget to the actual expenses. So at this point, This is the amount that we had in the settlements. I printed out all the settlements that we have there. The legal fees, which were budgeted, did go over the budgeted amount by $212,000, and I actually printed out that as well, so you can kind of see broken down who the legal fees are going to.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Any questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Is there a way to get this litigation itemized? I've gone through all the supporting documents that for this, can't find anything. Which departments are these litigations coming from? I know you can't say who they are or names in a public setting, but is there a way? I see these are all the law firms that were being paid, correct? Pretty much.
It's itemized right here.
Yes.
Right.
So if we know what was the case, what department, what was going on.
It's listed.
They are, some of them are listed by individual, depends on if the firm or attorney is representing the county in a particular case. Some of them, they have multiple cases, so it'll be difficult, not necessarily difficult, but it may not be listed on there to say which cases are for what. But all of the supporting documentation for any work that's done is usually comes in the form of an itemized bill that lists the work that's done on any particular file in any particular case, and broken down. And each bill I review to make sure that the work that they're doing is consistent with what it is that we would expect. And the county can't necessarily dictate who sues and that kind of stuff. So sometimes it's reactive to who's bringing suit and the complexity of the suit. But everything that is there has at least supporting documentation on a per month, per file, and saying what work is done on any particular one.
Great. And also, what additional fees? What are those? What are some examples of some of these additional fees?
Are you talking about the 212,000?
Correct.
Okay, so originally we had budgeted $3,228,000, and that was just not enough to meet the expenses last year. So we just had to make the adjustment.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Our next item is item number 26, Resolution 2023-193, presented by our Chief Staff Attorney, Charles Reed.
Oh, I thought we were doing 12. Was there a question on 12?
You answered all of them.
Okay.
Item 26, Resolution 2023-193 is a resolution authorizing Clayton County through Clayton County Fire and Emergency Services to enter into a business associate agreement with Right Site Health Physicians PLLC to provide non-emergent ambulatory care, to authorize the chairman or his designee to execute the agreement, and otherwise perform all acts necessary to accomplish the intent of this resolution, to provide an effective date of the resolution, and for other purposes.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Already asked my questions.
Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
One abstention, lack of information.
One abstention is 4 in favor of. It passes.
And our next item is Resolution 2023-199.
Resolution 2023-199 is a resolution authorizing Clayton County to enter into amended articles of agreement with Project Real Life Youth Occupational Training Corp. Incorporated for the distribution of American Rescue Plan Act emergency rental assistance funds, to authorize the chairman to execute the agreement and to otherwise perform all acts necessary to accomplish the intent of this resolution, to authorize the chief financial officer to amend the budget where necessary to reflect an appropriate revenue source and expense, all as may be required under the terms of the agreement, to provide an effective date of this resolution and for other purposes. And before the board votes, I did want to make one correction, that the synopsis states it's $1 million, but the correct amount is $1,684,655.82, and the amount for the administrative costs is $117,925.91. Again, some of this money captures expenditures, but it just cleans up everything that they've been doing under this program.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Any questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Our next item is item number 34, which is the board appointment for the Community Service Board.
First board appointment is Community Service Board. Jeremiah Johnson's term on the Community Service Board will expire October 6, 2023. New term is for 3 years, expiring on October 6, 2026. Commissioner Hambrick.
Yes, I would like to reappoint Mr. Jeremiah Johnson.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Next board appointment is also to the CSB. Derwin Davis's term on the Community Service Board will expire on October 6, 2023. New term is 3 years, expiring October 6, 2026. This is an at-large appointment. Are there any recommendations?
Chairman?
Commissioner Davis.
Yes, I'd like to reappoint Mr. Derwin Davis.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Our next item is our public hearing for the exemption request from moratorium relating to resolution number 2023-79.
Is there an applicant? Is the applicant here? Please come forward, sir.
I'm not sure I'm an advocate for the permit is here because it was through the construction company. I represent American Insulated Glass, and we're the one looking for the exemption to expand our current manufacturing facility.
State your name for me.
Darren Johnson.
And you represent who? The
American Insulated Glass.
Okay. Do you have anything other further to ask? This is a public hearing, and usually we give the applicant an opportunity to state their case and to withhold any minutes for rebuttal, because basically you have 10 minutes for anybody who's in opposition or favor to.
You're with us? Okay.
Okay, that helps.
This helps.
I can help a little bit.
State your name for me.
My name is Ken Hartel. I'm a civil design engineer with Continuo Group. We're here on behalf of American Insulated Glass. And we understand there's currently a moratorium on developments involving storage. What we're proposing is roughly about 15,000 square feet of an expansion to an existing industrial facility that we have. It's not going to be open to the public. It's purely for American Insulated Glass. My understanding is one area will be like a staging area for loading and unloading trucks. And there will also be 2 additional auxiliary storage areas. So we're requesting an exemption from the moratorium.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, this is a public hearing. Is there anybody here who would like to speak in favor of this applicant's request in reference to the moratorium? Anybody like to speak in favor of?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Garber.
Madam Clerk, Mickey Garber, unincorporated Rex, Georgia. The reason I would like to speak in favor of it is a little bit misleading here. But in order to speak, I need to have more information of what they're doing, where they're at, and what's going about it. Now, one thing I'd like you to keep in mind is these people already have a business there and they want to expand, and this puts a bad influence on other people who want to come here and grow. So I think we should ask for a little bit more time, more information to study their situation to give an appropriate answer. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to reserve 2 minutes for y'all at the end of the public hearing for you to answer any questions you may have. Is there anybody else like to speak in reference to and being in favor of? Anybody in opposition to? Anybody opposed? All right, sir, 2 minutes if you want to answer any questions.
Sure. I think as far as more information, I do have a site plan of what we're doing. If it helps, we could come back maybe at the next meeting and present that, and perhaps that would help shed some light on what exactly we're trying to do. But yeah.
I'll share a little information. We employ about 150 people at this location. We're on the corner of Moreland Avenue and East Conley Road. Existing facility, manufacturing site there. We have a 5-year growth plan where we would like to invest in this plant and grow the plant, add 25 to 50 employees over the next 5 years, in addition to our staff that we have now. It's about $1 million investment for us to expand this 15,000 square feet to help us with efficiencies in the plant and help us grow that business in Clayton County.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Reed, are there any questions from the board for these gentlemen?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
So it's on Moreland and East Conley. What does the existing building even look like? I mean, honestly, Mr. Garber actually stated the questions that I would like answered.
It's a brick front, gray metal building. I mean, you want to know what it looks like? Or?
I mean, granted, it would have been great to see a site plan for what's being proposed over there.
This is just a public hearing.
Yeah.
In reference to moratorium, allowing them to build.
Yeah.
My question in reference, to piggyback off of him, is what's around that area? Are there any other subdivisions around that immediate area?
What, the stuff around it?
Yes.
There's all the development on Grant Road.
Any residential?
It's a good ways to get to any residential from our side. We run right on the side of the train tracks. Off the hill, there's the creek. Creek on the back of the lot.
Okay. Any other questions?
I just want to say I looked at the area, and so that area, as you stated, as Commissioner just even stated, you are in the heart of that district that is already industrial. So to have a company to come in and to grow with us and add new jobs
is excellent.
Something we look forward to.
All right, like I said, this is over. Everybody, any other questions? This was just for the purpose of public hearing, and unless there's anything else, I guess we close out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
When do we vote on it, Mr. Chairman?
We don't vote today. Today was.
Yes, you would just allow a vote to, or someone make a motion to authorize staff to accept the application for the expansion of the business.
Okay. All right. Well, is there a motion in reference to what Mr. Reed just said?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Franklin. Any other questions?
Congratulations on
Hearing none. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Sir.
The board will now hear public comments. Citizens will be given 2 minutes, maximum time limit to speak before the board, with a total time of 20 minutes for comments. Comments must be limited on to matters on the agenda or over matters which the governing body has jurisdiction. Speakers must maintain decorous demeanor and refrain from personal attacks upon board members, shouting, and using obscene language. Please state your name and county of residency for the record. Speak clearly into the microphone, and speakers should be courteous, respectful, and not make any disparaging remarks or use abusive language when addressing the board.
Orlando Gooden.
Orlando Gooden, District 3, Clayton County. Madam Clerk, Commissioner, Chairman Turner. Commissioner Franklin has signs in District 3 with her picture and the words, "Your opinion matters, let your voice be heard." But she uses point of order to silence speakers during public comments. She wanted my August 15th public comments stricken from the record, so her signs are contradictions and hypocrisy. The First Amendment protects freedom of speech. The press, the right to petition the government for redress of grievances. Commissioner Franklin falsified the affidavit of disclosure, falsified a police report against CFO Ramona Bivens, has a pending state ethics case this September 14th for campaign expenditures and payments, a pending Clayton County ethics case for falsification of the affidavit of disclosure, violated conflicts of interest, violated her oath of office. Those are facts. When I held up this picture, you laughed, but Commissioner Davis and Chairman Turner were the only ones that voted to put public comments at the beginning and for 3 minutes. Thank you. By the way, commissioners do not have the authority to strike anything from the records. It has to be approved. You can't do that.
Carol Yancey.
Carol Yancey, Retz, Georgia. ACCG Abusive Office, Criminal Offense Number 8, Unprofessional Conduct in Office of an Elected Official, OCGA 45-11-4, and applies to the conduct of county commissioners while holding elected office. Emphasis, illegal activities and abuse of office, and only applies when no criminal charges of a more specific nature has been filed. Making the following activities or actions by commissioners a misdemeanor requiring removal from office if convicted. Using oppression or tyrannical partiality in conducting the county's business. Using deliberate means to delay or avoid the due course or proceeding of law. Demanding more than officials is due in administering his or her office. Any act of malpractice, malfeasance, misfeasance while in office. The statute does apply to a commissioner wrongfully or unjustly performing an act that he or she has no right to do. Similarly, the failure of a commissioner to act or do his or her legally defend duty with evil intent, motive, or due to culpable neglect is also considered illegal and unprofessional, i.e., First Amendment rights violation, instructions to strike factual, public comments, defamation lawsuits with anonymous emails, $375 per hour attorney fees for personal lawsuit. Thank you.
Timothy Vondell Jefferson.
Timothy Vondell Jefferson, unincorporated Clayton County. I am trying to make this quick because a lot I got to go over, but I wanted to converse about the quality of life within our county. There are several issues, but I've already had a conversation with the warden and Chief Roberts, so they will expedite that hopefully as soon as possible. But there's one thing I'm concerned about, and that is the $3.3 million that was sent back to the federal government on the rental assistance program. Now, I just heard 3 different conflicting issues that have been brought to light. First of all, professionally speaking, I'm not happy with NOVA. NOVA has signed off on certificates of occupancy, and later the clients have gotten fines after they didn't sign off on the certificate of occupancy. So therefore, I don't view them to be very qualified. Secondly, because of the cost and all of these things, the Flint River Center, I think that we need an in-house inspector, at least one, certified in-house inspector to oversee NOVA. We're going to continuously use them as subcontractors, because what that does, it prevents the cost. Now, certified home inspector, you're going to pay $100,000 for it. You're going to $90,000. But we have to have somebody in-house to oversee the project. You follow me? to make sure the inspections are done appropriately. So I think that's a missing link. Secondly, on the expenditures for the $17 million, I would like to see full transparency on the grants that we awarded and the payouts on the website. I also would like to see full transparency on these lawsuits and claims and expenditures that these lawyers get on their fees. I think, you know, to be full transparency, because right now the synopsis, everything is convoluted. As a citizen, I have to do open records requests, spend time, do all these other things when it should be on the website readily available. So all of these things,
I'm sorry, your time is up, sir.
We'll move the county forward in the spirit of excellence. Thank you for your opportunity.
Thank you. Siobhan Simmons.
Good evening, Board. My name is Siobhan Simmons. I am the founder and executive director of Family Literacy of Georgia. We are based in Morrow, Georgia, within the Clayton County, and I'm also a resident of City of Morrow and Clayton County. This Friday, we are excited because in celebration of International Literacy Month, but more specifically International Literacy Day, is Friday, September 8th. That day was created by UNESCO. We will be celebrating our very first partnership with a business as it relates to a Little Free Library. We will have the installation of the Little Free Library Read and Color program at the Eggs Up Grill this Friday at 11 a.m. And I am inviting the board as well as the community to join us at 11, where we'll be celebrating this wonderful union of opportunity between a business and a nonprofit to encourage our residents to enjoy books free at this location. So, and I know Commissioner Dumont, are you still speaking? Okay, okay. We'll have a short program. There'll be 3 different menu items on the menu that you can purchase, and the owners are delightfully donating those funds to Family Literacy of Georgia so we can buy more diverse books to put in our book deserts. And that's it. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Nicole McTooley. I hope I said that right. McTooley.
Good evening. I'm Nicole McToodle. I am a agent for the owner for Bridge Property Management, which we have apartment communities throughout Georgia. We have, speaking on the properties we have here in Clayton County, I wanted to come out just to, kind of spread the word on what we've been noticing with the eviction process. We know it's been a backlog, and we understand because we're having our own issues with things just, coming from the pandemic. Currently, I have 2 properties in my portfolio that we have about a good $450,000 in delinquent rent. And some of those people make up some of the residents that were filed on in 2022. So we're just reaching out just to spread the word. Our company is looking to buy additional properties and wanting to invest more, but we are noticing that it's been a little bit slower with the backlogs in Clayton County. We're getting evictions on, and we hate for anyone to be evicted, I have to say that. We offer resources, help. We have people that's been there for so long that, they'll reach out. We'll definitely try to help them work out an arrangement. We'll accept partial and cancel the eviction if they're coming to, but you also have people who are disturbing the community, causing crime. We've been having neighborhood watch meetings. I have one of our residents there. She's been very instrumental with helping us bring the community together, but we definitely could use a push with the backlog on evictions. Okay.
Where are your properties located?
Park at Terra Lake in Jonesboro, and then we also have Shadow Ridge and Riverdale. We've seen a slight spike at first in crime, but we've been having some help from some of the local officials here, which we definitely appreciate. So they came out to speak to the residents. So we've been having more resident events, neighborhood watch programs, and we also will be getting signage. We spent so much money on this property, and we have people that are sitting in there, $26,000 balance, someone who was filed on in 2022, times so many. We have other properties, 18 in total in Georgia and about 5 in Clayton County.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms.
Nicole,
Franklin.
before you leave, first, I want the board to know that I had the opportunity to go visit your properties.
Yes.
And the one at Park Villa when you sent it out to the entire board.
Yes.
But I did go by there. And I want to say thank you for what you all are doing. I was really impressed with the fact that you have a homework room that is decorated and has computers and free access for your community members.
Oh, yeah.
And you actually pour back in the community. So I was really impressed with the way that you all approach serving the community.
Yes,
And
thank you.
I do know that that information in terms of your backlog was sent over to our magistrate court judge. So hopefully with this additional funding that was just approved tonight,
Yes.
that we can help you all get rid of that, at least a portion of it. But I just wanted to shine a light on the work you all are doing. I was utterly impressed.
Oh, thank you so much. We definitely appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good evening.
Madam Clerk, that concludes public comment. Do we need an executive session?
Look at that smile.
It wouldn't be a meeting without an executive session.
Exactly.
Look,
right.
I already knew it.
Yes, just on litigation.
On what?
Just on litigation.
All right, is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved,
on
Mr. Chair.
Litigation. Who made the motion?
I did, so
Is there a
moved.
second? Second. Those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Motion to reconvene.
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion made by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Hambrick. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.